What is happening? We made it. We made it. My phone's dying over here. It's like 6. No. What time is it? 9? It's 9 a.m. on the Pacific West Coast. You have a lot of West Coasters here? I don't know. When your phone's dying at 9 a.m., it's a little wild. Asian Steve. What is up, Gomo? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, intro's legit. Intro's legit. Got littles with me. Gotta stay after the weekend because the roads have been bad. Oh, do Palantir? I don't know. Hey, I said 6 because it's like the market opens at like 6 o'clock my time. If you're in the West Coast and you trade, yeah, you're up at the butt crack of dawn, 4:30 something every morning, for sure. For sure. I'm feeling good, Connie. I will always remember you, by the way, because my mother's name is Connie. So I just can't forget Connie. I'm just letting you know. But yeah, I feel better. I might not sound better. My cough is getting worse. The little guy's going through it right now too. So there's that. But do gold. I mean, we could do gold. We could do silver. But yeah, it is like the biggest week in earnings, by the way. But welcome, everybody. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you want to get these kind of updates. What we're going to do today is go through kind of like a weekly trade plan every Monday around the lunch hour. This is what we do. Look at some existing trades, where we are in the market, what are the catalysts on deck. I don't know if Evan's going to join today or not. We shall see. It's TBD. He's been super busy. I guess they're planning an event. Did anybody go to Amit's thing this weekend? Dear California. Oh man. So yeah, it's a big week for earnings for sure. There's a lot of stuff on deck, and we have a massive day for data. So anybody know what happens on Friday? Friday's the biggest day of the week, right? Technical Tuesday, man. Absolutely. Friday we have non-farm payrolls. So this whole week is kind of like, I'm just gonna say this again. I say this every now and then, but this whole week in terms of price action, quite frankly, is gonna be meaningless for the broader trend. I will say right now that the broader trend is absolutely neutral. It's totally neutral. It's not an uptrend. It's not a downtrend. It's like sideways trend. So whatever happens, I'm just feeling it's a little trappy. Plus, this is the one, right? Yeah, Friday non-farm payrolls, and that is the biggest day. But after Friday, the good news is we will have a pretty solid trend. Is this sign got like a massive glare or what? What's going on with that thing? I don't even know what that glare is from. Hood is crying. Is it though? Is it? I had everyone's been forewarned. I actually had these resting orders at 91 that I forgot about, and they triggered today. I have no idea. If that's going to be the low. I will say for sure. Hoodie's got earnings this week as well, or maybe next week. I can see 7 handle on this one. I can easily see 72, 73s, no question. But down here below 90, this is where I want to start nibbling. If you like it at all. If you like it at all, below 90, this is where you start adding to me. But anyways, and it goes down to 70s. So, make sure you got enough room. Anyways, let's get on with the show, guys. So we got a lot of stuff to cover. So again, if you're new, make sure you give the show a like, subscribe to the channel, and we appreciate all your support. But what we're gonna do, just kind of go over massive earnings week this week. I think this is you guys could correct me if I'm wrong, but this is probably the biggest, I think this near biggest week of earnings ever. So, I mean, it's a big deal. But because there's so many earnings and the bigs still have yet to go, probably the best two charts out there right now, Amazon and Alphabet. Um, I'll just say these, I don't know. It's not Bezos. Nobody has a picture of Jassy, but it is Jassy. So in Jassy do we trust, and Alphabet coming in pretty hot. But these two companies are going to really, I think, like define the broader trend for at least the Qs. I mean, there's no question there. To me, the question is more of like, do we get that IWM continuation for the January effect here beginning of February? So other than that, I haven't seen anybody drop Nebius in the chart, but go look at that. I was about to text our boy this morning. Nebius looks like a good dip today, but we'll see. But anyways, let's get on the show. I didn't put a lot together on the headlines. This is just some economic data points. If you guys have any major headlines, besides gold, things like that. I think that the precious metal stuff is more like what we would talk about, and earnings. But PPI, we got PPI last week. That was basically the big number of the week. Expectations are in the parentheses here. So month over month expected at 0.2%. We actually came in super hot at 0.5% for the month over month number. That changed the year over year just slightly. Core PPI, extremely hot, expecting 0.2%. That actually came in at 0.7%. So a little black and fill makes a lot of sense here to me. And then there's something called the super core, if you're not familiar with that, where that's like taking out all the volatile data points. But this is mostly unchanged. Expectations 0.3%, coming in at 0.4. Lunchtime learning, absolutely. So this leaves us, I mean, the rest of the stuff, this is a little bit hot from a PPI perspective, which is producer price index. Again, we covered this last week, but if you're not familiar, there's CPI, which is how much consumers are actually seeing from an inflation perspective. So CPI is legitimate. It's just inflation. That's what it is. PPI is the producer inflation. So C for consumer, P for producer. It's essentially like, or the people that are producing the goods, seeing inflation in their costs of doing good, cost of doing business, or cost of goods sold, essentially. And if they are, then the market immediately goes into, well, are they going to pass that on to the consumers, or are they going to eat it? And most of the time, the market just kind of assumes that the producers will pass that on to the consumers, and therefore inflation's probably going to go a little bit higher. And that's what this is. In terms of the metals move, which I should have had it on here, but I don't know, guys. I put a post out there last week, and my initial gut is that let me just take this screenshot down for a second. My initial gut is that I think this is a shakeout on silver. I didn't sell anything. We talked about it last week. I was thinking that, hey, we're gonna I could swap it for gold, which probably would have been okay. But either way, they're all gonna go down at the same time. But but there's just so much stuff about this guy, Kevin Warsh, being a hawk. And I'm like, dude, are they not? I just like, even our my close friends or whatever are like hawk, hawk, hawk. And I'm like, is nobody like paying attention to the more recent things, or am I maybe just absolutely missing this? Because I really don't, as far as I know, like I'm missing something, because he's like, he wants rate cuts, right? Does he not? I'm just like at a loss for this one. Maybe not so much on the QE perspective, but rate cuts are rate cuts. So, I mean, it is what it is. I think we watched the dollar in general, but I will say that I'm not interested in shorting silver at all. I'll say this: at the end of this month, and when I went into it, I was like, okay, if I think this is a shakeout on silver, gold, whatever, which I actually do, when does it turn around? And so you got to play the tape out a little bit. So the the answer to the question is that, well, it will turn around when the market understands that they're wrong and he's not such a hawk, right? And that's just my 2 cents. Maybe I'm wrong, but at what point does the market figure that out, or do I figure that out? And I think it's the end of this month. So it's one I'm not jumping into right away, but at the end of this month, he's gonna speak. It's basically when he speaks again. The next time this guy speaks, he's gonna correct whatever misunderstandings or whatever is out there. And so I think you got to be really cautious if you're short on these precious metals. And I'm pretty positive there's going to be some shortcomings, short covering ahead of whatever his speech is. And I think it's, it's like nomination speech or whatever. I think it's at the end of this month. So that's the answer to literally this question, right? Like, can it continue to go down? I think it can. But we're at the 50-day right now, which is not that big of a deal. I think if we see the next higher low, the next daily higher low, yeah, I'm probably going to open some options, like legitimately upside calls. The next daily higher low. If I see a break of structure, it's going to be pretty clean. But this is probably one dude, if they're wrong, which again, that's kind of my gut, and he's not such a crazy hawk, the potential squeeze to the upside is just insane. But we just got to be careful. Premature allocation is a very real thing, and right now I think it would be a little bit premature allocation. But can you step your toes in? I think maybe, and I'd be thinking like March or longer from a duration perspective. But yeah, this is I'm just putting it out there. If the market's wrong on this guy being a mega hawk, like, dude, he's not a mega hawk. I don't know what's going on. The squeeze on silver will commence and it will be twice as violent as before. It's going to be insane. Big shakeout. Look at this. Yeah. Or I'm effed. Like one of the two. So what that means is like, size matters, of course. We say in the options world, size for zero, but I think if you're going to take a trade like that, which I think I might, don't tell him it or tell him, I don't care. You have to give that trade enough room to breathe, which means that you can't really size that big anyways. So in order to keep a proper stop on something like silver right now, or any other name for that matter, like that's gone parabolic, something like a Sandisk or Western Digital or like a Micron, you have to, even Intel, you have to give it a lot more room than normal. And in order to do that, you have to size differently. So it can't be a big position, but it can be a position that can pay a lot. That's for sure. But yeah, that's what's going through my head right now. I haven't even looked at the chart, but I'm legit interested in this, man. I'm just gonna say I'm legitimately interested in this. But anyways, that said, what do we have on deck? This is it's a big week for sure. Wednesday, we have a midweek kind of we get ADP. So ADP monthly is important, but it's not really market moving. Definitely not when we have actual non-farm payrolls and the government, surprise, is still open. Is the government still open? I'm pretty sure the government's still open. Somebody double check me on that. As long as the government is open, we will get non-farm payrolls on Fridays. If not, the market will use ADP. And I think for right now, we expect to get non-farm payrolls on Friday, which will set the trend for the prevailing trend until we get the next NFP, which is, by the way, a monthly number. So it sets this is going to be the high or the low for the entire month of February. And so, now I know it's like February 2nd today. To me, it's like this. It's as simple as this. The month to me doesn't really start until Friday. The month starts on Friday, and then we'll see. Everything else between now and then is trendless, choppy, and I think we stay mostly range bound at the index level. I'm not talking individual stocks, but a broader index level, and especially with earnings. So either, let's say Google misses, Amazon beats. That's my hope. But we will end up flat, or Amazon misses, Google beats. The index is going to end up flat. That's kind of where we are. Just like, Meta, big bounce. Apple, by the way, Apple had an amazing quarter. Am I missing this? Like, Apple does not stop it. This guy is, you guys are serious? All right. It's a partial shutdown. Yeah, it's a partial shutdown. Oh my goodness. All right. So, because of this, Jesus, I can't believe it. Because of this right here, this moves my calendar to Wednesday being the big day of the week. So when the market shut down, I will tell you guys without a doubt that the market, without non-farm payrolls, the market absolutely runs off this ADP number. So Wednesday, wait. So wait, do we know? We don't know. So no one knows. Okay, you know what's true is that Wednesday is going to be somewhat important. Why it's in yellow. And if we get non-farm payrolls on Friday, that's the biggest point. Whatever day we get non-farm payrolls on, that's the day that's really going to lock it in. If we don't get non-farm payrolls on Friday, the market will definitively, this is back tested, run off of ADP. And then in that case, ADP will set the trend for Wednesday. W West Coast for sure. But so no one knows. Do we actually get non-farm payrolls on Friday or not? What a joke, dude. What a poop show. In the meantime, what's also true is we have peak earnings. And I'm pretty sure it's nearly 200 companies this week, maybe more, reporting earnings. So, did we just snipe the lows on Robinhood? Maybe. But 90 bucks was a good, but down 91. There we go. Who knows? Yeah, you could look at financial juice, I guess. But anyways, here we are. So far, actually this week we already got Disney. I haven't looked at Disney today. Pretty sure it was up and then it was down and then it's still down. So pops up to 118, down to 106. This stock has like the worst history of going from like 120 to 80 to 120 to 80. Who knows? That's a wild one, man. That's a wild one. Nebius still going. What a hood bounce. We'll show this chart in a little bit, but that was 91 was definitely a level for me, and I had resting orders. I don't know if it sticks. I could see a lot lower, but we'll take that one first, and then I'll go with Nebius, and then I'll pick up some of your requests. So this is the answer. It was 91. It's the support that was it. Today is it. So below that, it's in the 70s. It's in the low 70s. So it would be a big, massive drop. I don't know that actually happens unless people are really scared about earnings, which is the only reason you'd be really scared about earnings. Is not this week, it's the week after. And that would be because the comps are really hard. And then we got Palantir today after the close. So our boys are going to be all pumped for that one. Rambus, I don't think. NXPI, semiconductor. Nobody cares about PayPal. Pfizer's going to be kind of interesting. Sorry. AMD's a toughie. She's coming in real hot. SMCI is coming in real cold. Who knows? Dude, Take Two. I just can't. Take Two is down bad the other day. It's down. It rebound. It's probably looking still. This GTA 6. I don't know. I think they're expecting another delay. That's what the chart's saying. The chart is telling me that the market expects another GTA 6 delay. But yeah, it's such a crazy one. It's a crazy one. Emerson Electric might be a like low-key interesting one. GSK, Lilly. I'm not really interested in these right now. Like biotechs are really hard for earnings. You just can't pick direction there. But it's Google and where's my Amazon? Where's my Amazon? Does Amazon not report this week? Am I high? I mean, I didn't even take that many meds this morning. What's going on? Pulling it up. I'm losing it if they don't report this week. Yeah, Feb 5th. That's on Thursday. Oh, it's right here. See, I'm losing it either way. So Google after the close on Wednesday, Amazon. I just don't, this logo doesn't register for me. Amazon after the close on Thursday. And those are the big ones. The big ones. Qualcomm. Okay. The smile logo. You know what's interesting? And I was thinking about this is Qualcomm. How are we not long Qualcomm? Is this dumb? Is this a layup? I feel like that's a layup, no? I could be totally wrong. I mean, Qualcomm is like Apple's largest supplier, are they not? And Apple had a massive quarter. This thing is down in the dumper. It's a big time dumper. I would care about PayPal soon enough. I mean, yeah, when it's time, I will care. It does. I mean, a smirk. We'll just say a smirk. We'll say a smirk. Is Marvel, dude? Anytime Marvel's under 80, which was like 78 this morning, if I have some free cash, I'll nibble at it. But it's not one. It's not one that I'm like, oh, it's gotta rip today, right? It's gotta run today. It's one like longer time. The market doesn't like Qualcomm. I mean, so I'm missing something, but I don't know. Qualcomm, jeez. I don't know. I could say I like Qualcomm and it'll end up being a SMCI 2.0. Who knows? But anyways, before we get in the charts, guys, I got to do one other thing. We're supposed to. Dun, 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 dun. Where's my? Here. I'm going to do a quick, what do you call this? Catalyst watch and walk through Evan's thread. So Evan does a good thread every real TNTA. Not yet. So quick catalyst check. So yeah, we know Google, Amazon, Palantir, AMD earnings. We just went through the list. It's a big one for sure. In terms of a catalyst to watch, let's see what we actually have. So yeah, a lot of high IV IPOs coming out. So NXPI, Palantir, Disney. IPO watch, not really here. Dividend watch, Lulu, CFL, CFO, and Chief Commercial Officer will start leadership duties as co-CEOs. Lulu getting a new CEO? I didn't know that. That's interesting. OPEC Plus reviews decision to pause production today. All right, that's Monday. So OPEC Plus meeting today, and Lulu, new CEO. Interesting. Western Digital Innovation Day in New York. All right, that's an event. Western Digital Innovation Day in New York City. Company will highlight key innovations designed to support the growing demand for data storage and customers by this SSD being more valuable than gold by weight just blows my mind. So I guess it's true. Certain SSDs more valuable than gold by weight. Just such a like mind-blowing concept right now. Pepsi Investor Day. Oh, Celsius has the Pepsi distribution deal still, right? That could be a big deal. And I still have my Celsius. Pepsi. Okay. It's an earnings call. Okay. Midday, random. GM, give comments at Federal Reserve Bank. Costco monthly sales. Thursday. Did it say anything about ADP? No, it didn't. Missed ADP. Shareholders for Vico interested in, I don't know what that is. Amazon earnings. Yep. Cool. And then Friday, jobs report. Expectation 65,000 jobs. That's so low, man. I'm so used to like seeing 200 something thousand jobs taken every month. But there we are. That's where we are. All right. So one last thing before we actually do get into the the charts, and then I promise we'll take a look. But we got to check in with our friend. So really quick, let's go ahead and do that. All right. You guys wanted it. Here we are. This is the time of the show that if you don't like it, take a hike. We love you anyways. Come back in a little bit. It'll be quick, but this is the T in TA, which clearly stands for tarot, not technical. I don't know where people came up with that, but here we go. So we get a call from our friend Miss Cleo. Interesting stuff right now. She sends us our little reading for the week. The way this works is that we get a theme card for the week that is at the top right here. So this is the theme card for the week, the Chariot. I don't know. And then every day we get a card for the day. The only one, all right, guys. So we got one. Oh, shit. Back to back. That's whipsaw, man. That's all I know. That's whipsaw. Ace of Cups, I remember, is like your cup is overflowing. It's all good. Everything's great. And then the Tower. You get built up to get knocked back down. So this is Thursday. Knight of Swords. So Wednesday after the close. So this is expectations, if I'm reading this right, which, who knows if I'm reading it right or not. Nobody knows. This is expectations of Google's report, because they don't report until after the close. And then Thursday, if this is the morning, if that's the morning, that means it's not a good report for Google. And then the night comes in to save everybody, which is probably Amazon, because they report Thursday night. I don't know. Total speculation. I got no idea what I'm talking about. Let me just read the cards here and stop prognosticating here. But anyways, um, so the way this works, we get a theme card. I mean, I'm curious to see what she has to say. Do our cups actually overfloweth? I do not know. But the theme card is the chariot. This is a strong energy card that should manifest quite a festive. All right, I hear you. Festive week for stocks. It brings movement fast. It brings movement and fast travel. That's cool. I like that. Look for a lot of back and forth energy with matching movements on back-to-back days. It may lead to a flat week, but day traders will have a good time. I can see that. Very possible that strong trend days will emerge. In what direction, though? That's all that we really care about, right? Monday, page of cup represents new beginnings, but usually lack the energy to back them up. In this case, something happens as a result of news, such as a Fed announcement or government shutdown. Okay, Miss Cleo. This may lead to a gap open. We did have a gap open. Continuation is likely, and since Friday was red, we may see more red on Monday. Nope, you're wrong. If a trend develops, you can chase it. Just look for a good entry. Yeah, trend was up, but it's over right now, I believe. Tomorrow, 2 of wands. Wands are impulsive, but 2s are a little boring. I'm good with that. They also like to restart the trend, look for mean reversion with energy equal, less than or equal to that of the prior session. Is that how you do that? Less than or equal? I mean, I knew what she meant, but I don't think that's the right way to do that. Less than or equal than that of the prior session. Just be careful for volatility. Yeah, I think today, heavy push to the upside, but I don't think it holds. Wednesday, ace, page 2 ace. That's a lot of new beginnings energy. Oh, yeah. This one likes mean reversion after a red day, but has a penchant for trending green, even when following a green day. She's not super bullish on this Ace of Cups. I'm pretty sure the Ace of Cups used to be like a super bullish card. This one likes mean reversion after a red day, but has a penchant for trending green. Is that not the same thing? Even when following a green day. Is it greater? Greater than or equal to? Cups bring flowing price action that is slow but one directional. I don't know. I just remember it being big. Tower, though, we know this card for sure. High energy, and we know that already. Yep, it builds the tower after a period of weakness and tears it down during a period of strength. Either way, we don't really know. Is the tower going to be built on Thursday, or is it going to come crashing down on Thursday? That's what we don't know. If one day it does not trend green, then there's a strong chance of Thursday starting that way, green. Either way, be ready to sell the rally. Just don't go all in. Don't go on. Okay. The tower is rarely bearish in a bull market. I mean, yeah, it's just a little exhaustion in a bull market. The Friday, Knight of Swords, this guy's a hard charger and loves to start the session with quickness. Expect higher energy start and perhaps a gap open. This would be Amazon. Treat it as a trend day in that case, but don't linger too long after lunch. In case of a slow start, you're likely to sell rallies most of the day. He has a red bias, but many of those starts were gathered during bear market stats. Were gathered during bear markets. The best case for bulls is still probably a choppy day. Okay. I could be good with sideways, but who knows? I don't see a lot of chop. What is she? But there are quite a few starts and restarts. Gap opens may be a trend, as may be trend days. Is she thinking we just trend higher or lower? I don't know. I don't think she's actually calling which direction yet, but a couple days of trend for sure. Hodl the power, please. The tower, please. Yeah, for sure. Miss Cleo is Zoltar's mama. It's 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 true. It's true. All right. Greater than. You guys got me. Greater than. Oh yeah. Who is Miss Cleo? I mean, Miss Cleo is Miss Cleo. That's all I can tell you. But that's all we got for the week. I think we're good here. Is this my chart? Oh, it is. Interesting. So this is my typical view. Let me just go ahead and make it a little bit bigger so you guys can actually see this, because honestly, there's no way that you could actually read this, but this is how I have it normally. Let's do it this way. So usually we're looking to start a 30-minute candlestick chart, my favorite one for analysis. If you guys didn't know, what we did do today is we opened right at our prior NFP lows and pretty much filled all the NFP gaps, not gaps, but ranges from there. So I'll just take a look at SPY to start. So we opened, we actually opened above. I got too many lines here. We're testing a new indicator, but let me just take some of this stuff down. Because it's getting a little distracting. All right, so we opened above our NFP low, which is right here. We'll just make this a little bit bigger. Normal, large. For you guys, we'll have to go huge. So our open is above, target 695, upside right now, these little green dots, that's our daily range. So like trade complete. Tomorrow, which is still, basically trading this NFP level, if we open above 695.30 and hold, okay, we should have a continuation. But if we open below 695.30 tomorrow, well, expect the exact same move, but in the opposite direction. I'll just say that straight up, probably within that same day or by the next morning's open. Just that's exactly how this works. From an average weekly range perspective, do I have it? Oh, I haven't updated these colors. So average weekly range 704. That's a bit of a stretch, but let me just get a quick measurement just on this NFP range here. 702, something like that. So we could go up to 704, up to 705. That's maximum. And that would be a daily range there. But this is the NFP system kind of working for you right here. Open above, you should make that trajectory within this range within 24 to 36 hours. Pretty much every time. 1, 2, 3. But if you do something like this tomorrow, like this, that's what you'd want to be cautious of. Something like that would take you right back to the lows, just like that. Or even something like this, you can't get above. You're going to get like a basic pullback. And net, the market really hasn't gone anywhere. Qs, I definitely do not have. So Qs has actually an open slightly below today. So NFP is 619. I don't know why this changed on me just now. 619.08. We opened slightly below. If you trend higher, cool. We have a gap down. So if you don't know how to trade gaps, sorry, you come over the server or whatever. Take the school of gains. We'll teach you. But gap lower, inverse the gap right here, 620 over NFP lows, which is 619. Boom, you're going straight to 627. That's it, full stop. Trade complete. Same thing here. We can't really expect anything higher. Definitely not for today, but for right now, if we do have an open and hold over 627.88, I can easily see that 637. But if we don't, expect exactly this. So no trend is why I'm giving you both of these here. The trend is decidedly sideways. it's not bullish, it's not bearish, it's absolutely neutral in this situation. The only one that I'm really thinking about right now is IWM. And so this made the full range today, inside, closing above. February, we usually have a bit of a pullback. And this is the one I was talking about. You have like a pretty clean head and shoulders, right? Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. And this is the neckline at 261. My saying is always a failed bearish pattern is like the most bullish setup ever. So if I see something like this, I'm liking this for more upside on IWM right now. So for right now, this moment, this is a failed head and shoulders on IWM, also probably the strongest of the bunch. I absolutely am keeping this one on watch for me right now. Some of the other stuff that you kind of need to watch here, I think we have the dollar. So dollar, let's see this, bouncing off the lows right back into what was prior support. So I think this is the question, right? If this was the prior support that the dollar had lost and it goes down, now we're back up to and retesting that support level. Like, what happens if this prior support is now resistance? I mean, again, why I'm thinking about the silver thing, because if that's the deal, I'm just saying, guys, this debasement trade is probably back on. Let me see if I have some kind of confluence. So from the low to this high, I'll just take in that breakdown area. Yeah, this can go 97s, 98 maybe, up north of, or near that 20-day simple. This can go as high as here. Yeah, which is definitively that support. So one more red day, maybe. But this dollar, if it starts to break down or get weak, technically speaking, that broken support should act as resistance, which means that the debasement trade would be back on if that happens. So you want to give this some time to play out, probably more than a week. A week is just probably not enough, but super interesting setup here with the huge pullback in gold and silver on Warsh. I just don't know. that I don't trust that pullback. I think it's a shakeout. That's just me. Crude, nice pullback here, back in range. I don't think that's going to be a big deal. I like the services sector better. I'm just going to look at silver. So this seems to be a level, 67.69 on SLV, the ETF. I mean, I'm just saying, I have some confluence here, guys. This is literally the breakout. Like, it's literally a breakout retest. $85 is no big deal on silver. Oh, I'm really into this one. I just, feeling like it's a shakeout. TVD, we shall see. I got to see more. If SLV is over 73 and a half, like this, then I really don't have a question. And this is happening. And I will take this trade at least up to here and probably ride it up to here. But if you're going to take something like this, if you get to 86s, something like that, you got to take a little profit because you'll be like a triple instantly. TBD. But below 68, below 67, we'll just say, it's not happening. So this is support on silver. Full stop. It's not even that big of a deal. I mean, it's a lot from the highs, but 35+% from the highs. But that's where it was like last month. So I don't know. Feels like more of a shakeout. I don't think that's going to continue on like straight down to 48 in a way. But if we do lose 67-ish, maybe 65, I might actually give this to 65. Yeah, that's what I mean. So like if you'd have to give this room down to 65. So if it's losing 65 like this, cool. Then we see 48, but not before then. For now, you kind of got to expect that this is support. Straight up. Let's see gold. This is the same thing. Like gap fill. There's a session gap. I mean, we have a lot of session gaps, so it doesn't really matter on gold. The actual break 403 on this entire thing. This is just a little blip right there. This is literally the last low. So this could be a higher low on a daily chart, which is wild to me, right? So this is the last low here, that breakout. It's higher than that. Quite frankly, I don't see a trend break here. This just looks like exhaustion. This is definitely not a trend break. Not here. I don't see a reason to sell. I'm probably crazy, but who knows? This one, if you get halfway back, it's like 480s, 475, between 465 and 475 right in here. Could be worth a little safety trim. But yeah. These are interesting. So they're all down to interesting levels to me now. But I think it's going to come down to maybe late February. And we're TBD on a lot of this. So not something to jump out of the jump out and buy, but definitely interesting enough for me to really watch them at this point. All right. So you guys let's go ahead and jump in some actual charts here. I said I'd look at the hoodie first. Where's my hood chart? I don't know where my hood chart is. Let me. This one has it. This guy. Okay, 91.76. Let's see where this comes from. So this level here is from this swing low here to that swing high. And that 50% line right here is $91.76. So is this support? Yeah, this is the lowest end of support. Prior all-time high, 85. You could easily see that. And then below that, there's, so if we lose this level, this 91.5, 91.75, this is where I have a lot more confluence. And so this is what I would call like the golden pocket right in here. There's a little bit of inefficiency in the market down to 85s. But this is the low end of what I could see. And that's about 73 right here, 73.10. And that is two things. One, that is this like 618 or 65 retracement from this swing low to swing high. And then it's also what this is. See this little dash? You probably don't see this dash. But let me go ahead and make it, I guess, bigger. Make it white. That's from here to here. That is, if this is to be like a head and shoulders kind of thing, not that it's very clean, it's really not a breakdown. It's the 50%, it's 50% of that. So full is 50s, which I just don't see happening. But it's right in here, 50% of this range. See that halfway point? 75s. And I have a lot of confluence there. So that's kind of like the low end of where I see this could happen. At most, I think if we don't reclaim this 91.5, all of this, both this 85 and this 73-ish level are both potential ahead of earnings, especially if people are really concerned. And that's next week. So trend is down right now. Definitively, I have like green on the quarter, green on the month, green on the, or red on the quarter, red on the month, red on the week. Yeah, downtrend is pretty prevalent here, but we are getting somewhat stretched as we go along. So it's possible, possible that we get a counter trend bounce, but that's all that can really be, is just a counter trend bounce. And counter trend bounce still can take me up to 130s. So if you like it long time though, this is the area. Anywhere here to here. I know it's a $20 range, but long time is long time. That's like 3 to 5 plus, maybe 10 years. Yeah, it doesn't really matter, but it's in this area, and it would be essentially 1 buy, 2 buys, 3 buys, 4, getting bigger as you go. That's how you would scale into something like that. 77s. I like that though. 77.05. I don't think 85 is going to be a big deal. It is that prior high, but if I see 77, I'm just going to cover all my hedges on this guy, buy back my $100 leaps, and start looking for something to the upside. But more than likely, if we do get like a big pullback on earnings, it'll look like this, and then they'll be sideways for a while. If it's a bad earnings like that, it could be months. So there's no need to rush into this either. Like, definitely no need to rush into this. The other one I said I'd look at, Nebius. So this one's looking better. Almost texted my boy. Not quite, but we have a nice little rounding bottom. To me, this could have gotten to 88s. Anything in here is kind of like your support zone. I think this is holding. I'm definitely seeing some interest in the market jumping in on this. Like, that's definite. So we filled these gaps, at least this gap, session gap here, 83s. This looks like, again, a nice little bounce incoming. This trend is not broken either. It is also extremely neutral. So what we call this is like trading the edges of support, because your resistance is still clearly 108s right in here. So I would expect to bounce something along the lines of this, and then it could pull back again. But if it holds 90s, that would be better. But I would expect to bounce into this, pull back, and then see where she goes. Ideally, something like that. So need time for sure. You're gonna have earnings coming. Again, not this week, but next. I think the market's kind of looking forward to that. All right, so I'm gonna scroll up. Some of you guys asking Rivian. I mean, Rivian's not a layup here. I like Rivian, but you're not gonna get me to like walk away from my Rivi. I don't think you touch this though right now. Like, it's not at a buy zone. It's at the 200-day. If you don't own it, you can take a shot. Anything under 14, generally speaking, is usually fine in the long run. But with Rivi, let's just do this. Even here on this lower end, like, my point of control is not until 10.5, which is pretty crazy. And then even this one is down into 13.5. So between 13.5 to 10, I think is a viable dip, but we're not there yet. So no, it's not a good time. to me, unless you're gambling on earnings. But I don't do that. I will say I think they have to raise. Um, I don't think like sales numbers for Rivi probably not going to be great. They're probably going to be fine. But again, if you like Rivian, you should know that you don't want them to sell a whole lot of cars because they're cash flow negative. So if they're selling too many cars, it's not really good, and it's even more trouble. R2 comes out this year. Same with Autonomy Plus. I think Cruise is having something else, and they had something about the loans. So they had some government loans that were on the books for the Georgia plant. And this is why I think maybe they might have to raise, because if the government isn't like, and they haven't received the money yet. So if the government's like, well, we're not going to give you the loans anymore, that's going to be a big problem for Rivian. And that's going to push out R2 deliveries. That's going to push out R3. It's going to push out everything. And I think that's what the concern is right now. And they're probably going to mention that in the call. And so because of that, yeah, I can see 13s again easily. But it's still optimistic in terms of it's like this. If they get the loans and they don't have to raise, it's all good. But either way, that makes the Rivian story not really a 2026. 2026 becomes the real transition year, but where you see some fruits of that would be 2027, maybe something like that. It's not a short, it's not a long, it's a hold to me, or a watch, depending on your time horizon. So if your time horizon is not 2027 and beyond, call it 2028. It's just a trader, and I can't really help you on that other than what I just gave. So for Nebius, no, clearly it's not out of the woods. You guys had, I saw this, a lot of questions on Microsoft. No, it's 415s on Microsoft. So I have it right here, 418. Like this could go even further, but your support is way down here. 415 is a spot, right? It's a spot for it to hold. This is the prevailing, like this is the prior downtrend that had broken at 440. This is still not a good looking chart. It's not a good looking chart. So even if you got Microsoft at my 415 level and it started to bounce, investors should know that is a counter trend bounce. This trend is decidedly down. And so while that could bounce up to, I don't know, 470, it could dump all over you if it bounces to 470. But the lower that we go, I will say, the more likely that, so the near-term trend. So near-term trend is down decidedly, which is here. Since the 509 break, October. So since October, the trend is down. Longer term, you're still in an uptrend. But what you should know is that the last low is 350, right? And so if the like 1 year plus trend is to stay up, right? Anything down here as low as 350 is possible and still be inside the trend. See that 375? What I would say is if 415 is lost, 375 is very much like nearly a foregone conclusion to me. This area right here is your first major support that Microsoft is testing. This whole kind of trajectory, I mean, this is June, potentially July. So this could be in a bottoming formation down to sideways for the next February, March, April, May, June, 5 months before it actually gets out of the weeds. So that's what I see on Microsoft definitively. I think Microsoft is interesting too to talk about, because their earnings was, to me, their earnings was good, just like Apple's was good. So why is Microsoft down? I think is the bigger question. And it's still what we were worried about. It's like, it's the CapEx. So it's still does the software and it gets grouped into the software names, like software as a service. Software is generally not doing great, but the question is like, is the market really still concerned about when will these names, after all this capex, see some ROI? And Microsoft is probably doing the worst in terms of their AI. Not probably. Microsoft is definitely doing the worst in terms of their public AI presentations. Whether or not they're actually not that great, I have no idea. But yeah, I think the market is weighing for someone like Microsoft. Is the ROI too far in the future and we're maybe not ready? So this is investing hat. The trade is complete to the downside near term, coming to a completion. But the way this is going to work to me is that, is any of my crew in here? I know some of you guys are. You remember the $1 million month, right? So we have this $1 million month that we'll run. We do this, make $1 million in a month for like in the server trading. And that month, anybody know what the month is? Is the June to July. It's like July 4th. It ends at 4th of July, which is like the most bullish time for Apple. So that period and the timeline that I just kind of walked through for Microsoft fits perfectly. Last year, it was Apple and Google, huge reversals off the lows. This year, it's looking like Microsoft will be the one. So Microsoft will be definitively a high value target come June, July for the upside. But you have to know that from a very long-term perspective, the uptrend is much, much lower. So this can come down quite a bit and still hold this prevailing uptrend. We'll just make it green for you guys. But this is much lower. So is 425 a good price? Fuck no. Right? It's a nothing burger price. Below 415 is better. Is much better. And quite frankly, as close to 375 as you can get. Anything down here is good. By the time June comes around, this is probably going to be the exact same price that it's at right now. Just my guts. Even if Microsoft were to bounce literally right here, remember I said it could go up to 470 and be counter trend bounce. That still takes it in this same area. So whatever the direction, 420s is likely where this will be in the next 6 months or 3 to 5, less than 6 months, like 3 to 5 months, give or take, regardless of where this bounces next. So actually that makes it pretty prime for some premium selling. And if you like Microsoft, which is it's a great company, I think that you could buy this via selling some like $400 puts and hopefully you get put the stock at a good price, maybe. I actually don't hate that at all. And at the same time, be selling some like 470 calls, maybe like, again, 3 to 6 months out. But I actually like that idea a lot. Amazon coming into earnings. Big move today, right now. We are still kind of toying with this. We'll call it a very long-term bull flag, if you will. 243 is from this swing high here to this swing low. That's kind of like that primary bear zone right in here, which we are breaching today. Again, not a big deal right now, this moment, because it's earnings. So this is that last kind of pre-earnings move. If this situation here does resolve to the upside, which is retesting that prior high, just big, massive kind of like what you call like this bull flag kind of formation on a very large time frame. I think that's like a monthly. Yeah, that's like a monthly bull flag. That's pretty bullish. That would still take you into that 296 area. 300, like absolute peak, 350 for the extension for the year if this blows it away. If it doesn't, expect 190s. It's just gonna be like that. So for earnings on Amazon, it's gonna be like that. This can go either way. Once earnings hits, technicals kind of get reset. But I can give you the ranges. It would be about 290s to the upside. Standard upside, depending on where we close, it could be down to 200s on the downside. Maybe like 215s where we just came from. Like if Amazon came back down to 215, just know like we were literally there in October and November. So it's not a big, it's still within its trend. Even a massive $50 dip to the downside, what would that'd be like a $30 dip to the downside. $30 dip to the downside, not going to break the trend. But if 213 doesn't hold, then we do expect this just slightly sub 190 area to act as your next level of support. Which, again, if that happens, cool. We're back in that 5-6 month kind of sideways action. Just so you guys know, stocks don't go in straight lines. The most of the time they go sideways, and this is currently definitively sideways. The Qualcomm stuff. I mean, dude, I don't know. Apple reports like epic record quarters. Qualcomm's the biggest supplier. I don't pay attention to institutional selling. It's never, or buying. It's never done me any good. We usually beat them like hand over fist every. I don't know anybody that doesn't beat them. But this is a big level. This 150. So could it go down lower? For sure. For sure. But from a price action perspective, if they didn't have earnings like tomorrow, like Wednesday, if earnings was not on Wednesday, I would be buying this straight up. And I think I can say this because it's not tomorrow. That at least tomorrow we have a little bit of a pre-earnings bounce, which may be counter trend. I mean, the near-term trend is down. I mean, that's pretty obvious. But yeah, this could be 180s pretty quickly, depending on what they say. So you'd have to get into this, but largest Apple supplier, pretty epic Apple quarter for Apple. 30% growth or something like. We'll see. We'll see. Super interesting to me. And no, you will never get me have an opinion on GME. No, I don't trade Duolingo. It's illiquid, too illiquid for me. Okay, so scrolling down. Iren. I mean, I like Nebius. Iren has earnings this week. So 49s was kind of like this trade complete. Is this a big? Nah, I mean, just okay, kind of. Oops. You just off that 48.90 and kind of in this general box still. If this can get over 56 is cool, but again, this got earnings coming, so I don't think it's going to be a trend worth noting right now. That's where we are. I don't know what they could possibly say that's not in the stock either. How does she know about trade? It's funny. Hoodie, Iren, VIX. Yeah. So we got Hoodie, Micron. Could do Micron. Sandisk, Micron, all of them like great days. Again, up 6.5% today. I mean, just crazy. We'll do Micron, we'll do Sandisk. We could look. So all the SSD plays are doing great right now. This from just this perspective. Goodness. So many fibs on this stupid chart. It's insane. I almost feel like this can be a daily trader from now. As long as it's holding over 438, like it can chop in between. Like it could chop in here, or sorry, 428. As long as holding over 428, I think that you could actually see this as a net new kind of consolidation, since technically you draw this left, this is nearly another retest. The channel that Micron has been trading in is just like too clean. My gut is that this is the bottom of the channel since earnings. Yeah, so that's the bottom of the channel anyways. Look at that. Too clean. So I'd say as long as it's holding like this 430 general area, you should see that kind of chop just like this to probably 500 would be my first guess, but let's go ahead and measure it anyways. So from here to here, I can't believe I said that. Yeah, 490s. There it is. And then it'll do this again. Choo, choo, choo. And then back in the channel. But that is, that's what channel looks like. Just like that. Geez, what a chart, man. What a fracking chart. So those are your tradable ranges. So from now, buyable pullbacks with a target of just under 500, and then shorts, believe it or not, down to like $50 short, down to 450, and then another $75, $80 long off 450. That's what that looks like. Sandisk already there. This one's getting a little extra Momo now. Retesting the high. So usually we give these things one shot to actually break the highs. Usually. You fill that full gap on Sandisk. If this can't get over 476 or 676, sorry, by this week, I'd say this goes into a holding pattern for about 40 days. It's typical, like super typical, before it can actually make another move. So not a short, not a long, but probably a lot of IV to harvest here if that happens, but too early to make that call. We'd have to see this throughout the week. This one, to me, is super interesting. So same concept here, Corning. I'm liking this more and more. I need to see this crack 120. And so like right now, if this can crack 120, I think this has a real chance. And, you know, by the way, Corning has been sideways before this more recent breakout. What is that? 6 months? 3 months? 3 months of consolidation on Corning. I'm just saying, like 120 is that first target. What's happening here? 120 is that first target. Sorry, I had orders popping up. But if she can get through there, I'd be looking at 135 as the very first next stop, and potentially higher 150s by the end of the year, something like that, which again, that's pretty good for an equity. But sustained momentum like that would be a total character change for a name like Corning. No, I mean, is it? The character's been pretty bullish for a while. Does take some serious breathers, and we're just now coming off a very big resting period for Corning. So again, to see this up higher between now and at least next quarter, I think is very possible. Very possible. Let me just take this. I didn't realize it had this kind of a move back in the 2000s. Well, this is .com. Okay, I had no idea. I had no idea Corning has the .com era history. That's 113. Cisco's finally done it too, right? Imagine. Well, this still gives me the same target. That's in the 185, 190s. It's a monthly chart. A little early to say. I had no idea Corning had that .com boom back in the day. Let's do this one real quick. So CRM, I took a little pot shot on, just because if it was going to have a counter trend bounce, I figured like this pretty big sell off right into a pretty critical level here. But the bounce was just so weak, I instantly closed it. Like this day, I think this day I was like, okay, you're opening, lock the high of the day early, then you close on lows. I'm cool. To me, this can still come in, but I mean, there's no question here that this would be completely counter trend. I mean, the trend is just the long term down, long term downtrend. This little neckline of your head and shoulders has what do you call this? Has broken. That's 226. So, so best case scenario, earnings come March, you'd have to get back over 226, 227, something like that, whatever this little top is, and reverse this head and shoulders, because otherwise, this is looking real. And if that's real, then yeah, you're looking at the low hundreds, not 200s. You'd be looking low hundreds, technically speaking. 150s maybe, basically retesting this area over here if this plays out to the downside. So right now you're about to get a short squeeze on the month. You know, your best trades on CRM are going to be the downside right now. The only issue I have is like you're so close, like you're just short the pops kind of thing, but this is support, so I'd rather wait for this to see if this actually acts as some kind of real support or not. Right now, it's those buyers are so weak, like so weak off this level. So I would just watch and not really play right around this 210 level. But it's a critical area for sure. A counter trend bounce on CRM would take you up to just under 230, right into this kind of low volume node or high volume traffic area, which is that prior support that was broken right in there. So that's what a counter trend bounce would look like, just around 230, retesting this general area. But it would still be definitively counter trend. Like there's no question here. We can look at Palantir just because they're reporting tonight. I don't know what their average. I mean, you could look at it, but it's heavy. It doesn't look good. This looks like hoodie before a break. But yeah, I almost said 150s, but I think it's already there. So let's do this. So this is off. Now this is just clearer head and shoulders sitting on the neckline right now, which is 147. Earnings is going to change the game here. So you don't really have a clean read one way or the other until after earnings from a technical perspective. But what I would say is if this is your head and shoulders, then you would essentially double this. That makes it sub 100. 87s is what it is. I think I would do the same, not from the absolute lows, but probably from like the 60s to here on that last major low and say, okay, 116 is a spot. So 130s to 115s. This is your first kind of like halfway. Sorry, I know I squished this chart a lot. So I'll just make it a little bit bigger for you guys. This neckline thing hasn't broken yet. So it's still kind of TBD. I'd say below 136, it's definitively broken, but your trading ranges would be here. 136 to 115, 115 to 80. And then it could go either way. Like you could bounce this way. I would expect this to get stuck in that little box between 130 and 115. I actually think that would be best case scenario for Palantir if it just doesn't rip your face off. But I don't know what they could say at this point that's not already in the stock. That's the problem, is that I just don't know what they could say that's not already in the stock. And yeah, I mean, if she loses 120, it's in the 80s, which is that last breakout right over here. But we're not there yet. That's support. See how big that is on the right-hand side of my screen? Where most of the buying and selling happens, it's 80s. It's right there. This area, 120, it's pint size, minuscule. Not a lot of like time at this price. Just not. It's a pit stop. Mid 80s is realistically where this shows a lot more support. HD. Okay. Well, my trade was completed here. AC's got earnings. Yeah, I can't do it. You could be at risk of a higher low. This does not look like a tradable range. Because you could easily say like this gets up here, locks the lower high, and goes straight back to the low. I don't want that. Rocket Lab. The Lab of Rockets trend has changed near term, broken. Lost the 20 to 85 in strength. So now the question is where pullback, right? Which I don't know. This was the best dip buy last time, but pullback remains where it was at 60s. 61. High to like mid to low 60s. That's where she'd be. Mid to low 60s. I have a lot of confluence. 68 and change kind of area is it's meh. You lose the 60 area. Well, the bigger resistance is in the 40s. But I don't know. We have a lot of stuff to come. End of the month, you have earnings, you're coming in hot. I expect us to see at least a 6 handle on here before earnings, just as a basic pullback. Whether it's a high 6 handle or a low 6 handle, I don't know. EOS, I said I would. I think I bought this yesterday or Friday. So I actually like this area. But this needs to hold right in here, the 13. I think 13 was your spot. That's where it's got to hold. Earnings end of the month. Right here. That's like point of control, I would bet. From here to here. Yeah. 15, 14 and a half. If you get over 15, then you're bouncing back up to the highs. And anything from here, literally anything from here on a bounce is where I would get. Oh yeah, look at that. more interested. So if you start locking higher days, like new daily highs from here over 1471, this looks like a decent bounce coming. To where, I think, is the more important question, if that holds. First of all, to 1680. And then if it can actually break out of this box, then it's in the 20s, but not before. And that'll probably be post earnings. ETH, BMNR, look, counter trend bounces, not much to do. SoFi, we did this on Tuesday. I think it was 22 to 29, something like that. I think it did. I think it actually hit both. Yeah, 22. That's your support right there. That chart's not great. Chart's not great, but expect sideways action, and then the next move will show up later after this this pullback. SoFi is lending, right? So I think the market has always thought it's a bank. It's not going to get a tech benefit, but yeah, we'll see on SoFi if they like rate cuts. I think that's going to be more important. Otherwise, what is a legitimate multiple on SoFi that's not tech and just bank earnings? This says 17 from a chart perspective, which is very possible. And then I think you actually make this from a long-term perspective. You would have 1, 2, 3, 4 shots like that before this actually gets through. So that's definitely not this year. It's not looking like the year for SoFi. I did. I had $91 resting orders. Doesn't mean it's a lows. Can we check you? We can check you. Check you. This is the gaming thing. So we had a lot of gaming stuff pull back. No. So unless you want to gamble, same with Roblox. I think the gaming stocks. What was the headline on the gaming stocks? There was a headline on these guys. Somebody tell me. Yeah, they're big sell-offs. They're big sell-offs. No, what about it? What about S&P inclusion? It's not going to matter if the S&P is in a downtrend. It would just be in a counter trend bounce. But Roblox got to get over 80 or 75. Unity, I don't know. I don't remember what the headline was. It was a big one. Celestica. Yeah, I don't hate Celestica. I just don't know Celestica that much, other than edge networking. My only is at 33 billion. They have to be a smaller company, but I don't know how much their penetration is really going to get. Like, are they going to eat Arista's lunch at 177 billion? I don't think so. But is there room for another player? Probably. But yeah. Yeah, forever coiling is true. At 30 something billion, so with enterprise technology names like something like this, you got to be really careful. Like, you can take a flyer, something sub 30 billion, sub 50 billion, but they're not like in the enterprise. This is going to be such a small name I just don't know where they really play. And so for earnings, which looks like it's already come out, a 5%. Yeah, dude. I'll just say a 5%. That's not going to cut it. No. That's not going to cut it at all. So post earnings, no, I think this breaks support. Is that right? 5% growth? They probably took out Arista on that. Supply chain solutions. Advanced technology. Connectivity cloud services. I just don't know enough about Celestica other than they're an emerging player. I'd say that. They're an emerging player. But how big of a player? I don't really know because it's been so long. Like I left the enterprise before these guys were even a company. But this price action does actually not look good. So coiled for a while, but to me, the next move actually looks downside to the 200s. That trend is not up. You'd have to, if this is over 312, then I'd say, yeah, take your shot. But you got to get to the midline. A breakdown here is going to be into the twos. But yeah, this needed to hold 313. So if Celestica can get back over 313 and a half, call it 315 for round numbers, and hold like a weekly, monthly hold like for a while, I think that's super constructive and probably going to be good. But it has to do that. Other than that, this tells me that you probably got to go. The thing is that it couldn't go higher, right? Take a couple shots. It couldn't go higher. The buyers have always stepped in right here. But these buyers in the past here were not strong enough to get it over this top. So because of that, this chart tells me it's got to go lower first if it wants to go higher anyways, regardless. So that's how I would read this right now. But you'll know very soon. Not going to do Medtronic, but I'll take a look at KMI. Yeah, so these are home builders. I like, so this is better than Home Depot chart for right now. Still at the highs. Can't believe that's such a huge high. I could see a pullback here, but let's look at some others. Super consolidation. We'll look at some banks. Off the lows here. 309, it made a new high. So this one looks like it's going to retrace a bit. jpmorgan, sub 300. I don't look at Coinbase last. I don't even, why did I even look at Coinbase? What are we looking at here? What are we doing? It's a no touch. Yeah, unless you want to gamble on earnings, this has not been in a good trend or space for a long time. Neep. Nope. Nope. Not even kind of. There's your saving grace. Maybe. But you gotta wait till post earnings. You gotta wait till post, like after earnings, because that's too much of a hard gamble to me. I mean, I don't like Coinbase from a business perspective from here. I think they're fully valued. I just don't get the upside. versus like the other potential ones. I mean, I'd almost rather figure over Coinbase. If you like institutional buying, yeah, if you see a 4 handle on this, I'd probably buy it. But prevailing uptrend, retesting right now. The problem is that you have earnings coming. So I think for this week, maybe you could get a bounce, but it really has to hold well over 190. Call it 195. And if it can be over 195, then you can look for a counter trend bounce, because resistance on here is pretty high. So it's pretty far away. Yeah, to 220s. That would be a pretty simple counter trend bounce right before earnings. But at that point, earnings can do whatever. But that's what I would see at Coinbase. Otherwise, yeah, that short is a little bit played out, but yeah, maybe counter trend bounce if you're lucky into 220 at the highest. Tuffy. No, I didn't go over Nvidia. Actually, we should. I just want to check on it, and then okay. You guys keep getting me. So Nvidia, AMD, we'll call it. Yeah, Nvidia sideways. So it is depending on what Amazon and Google say next. I mean, the thing is that Amazon and Google, that's a tough one. Amazon and Google both have their own custom chips. So are they going to be saying that they're buying more Nvidia? I don't know. I mean, if Amazon and Google say they're buying more Nvidia, that's probably super bullish. But I think Google can get a counter trend bounce, or because the trend is sideways on this, up into like 92s, 93s, but it basically got there already. So maybe a little bit higher. For me on this one, it has to be holding over 97 from here on out. And definitively has to hold 191. If it's not holding 191, I can't expect 97 to even come into the picture. But if it is over 191, I would expect 197 to be very much in the picture, but not before then. So until then, think of those numbers. 191 is going to act as your general resistance. And that's it, really. That's how that's going to work. So it'll be more day trader than anything else. AMD average daily range high today. You've just filled the session gap at 250. Earnings like imminent today. What can I say here? So even if AMD, which is a big mover, were to drop down to 212, that would be right where these lows were, 1, 2, 3, and then otherwise 300 is upside on this one. So AMD, for my crew, anybody that that really likes AMD long term, I would look to sell something that gives you a 300 plus exit that's pretty far dated, and collect some solid premium. So maybe in like September. Oh yeah, like September, you could sell a 260 call on AMD and collect $40. Dude, September, you could sell a $60 call on 260 call on AMD, collect $40. That gives you a $300 exit. And it gives you $40 protection to the downside. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. So something like that is how I would personally play these things. AMD trading 250, 247. I sell a 260 call for September. I collect $40 to do that. That manufactures me a $300 exit, which is my upside target anyways, by the way. And while doing that, it also protects me $40 downside, which is to about $200, which is exactly what I would see the downside being. So in that instance, boom, that's a no-brainer. Sell a 260 call for September, lock that in. But yeah, that's easy day. And then if it does go to 300, cool, right? I'm happy it's selling at 300 anyways, but I still have so much time on that. It's probably going to chop around. I would leave it alone and then, a couple weeks later decide, do I want to roll up and out or anything like that? But I honestly, in all reality, I would probably just keep it short and start a new position if I really liked it and let those get called away as is. But that's the only reason. Because of that, that's why I would like it. And I would be happy getting called away at 260, manufacturing myself a $300 exit. But anyways, that's where I'm at, chat. We are good. 10:41, about an hour and a half in. Yeah, it's a good day. Well, not so good for Hoodie because she didn't hold the 90s. We'll have to see. But anyways, I'll check in back with the server towards the close, and then we'll see where we're at. But all right, until then, adios, guys. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.